At the palace, the stench was unbearable. The silence was absolute. Her husband was gone. The court avoided her. She became paranoid, alone, abandoned, just like when she was a child. She was Mary Tudor. Mary was born on February 18, 1516, the legitimate daughter of the powerful King Henry VIII and his first wife, Catherine of Aragon, a Spanish princess and daughter of the Catholic monarchs. She was welcomed as a blessing, the first surviving daughter after a series of miscarriages and stillbirths. Although she was not a boy, her father adored her. From a young age, she was raised with the privileges destined for a future queen. Mary spoke Latin, Greek, French, and Spanish fluently. She was educated, obedient, pious. Her mother instilled in her a deep Catholic faith and a moral firmness that would mark her forever. By the age of 9, she could play the lute, read Thomas Aquinas, and debate theology. Her childhood seemed golden, but it wouldn't last. Everything changed when Anne Boleyn arrived at court. Henry VIII, obsessed with having a male heir, began to reject Catherine, who could no longer bear children, and was young, charismatic, and ambitious. Henry asked the Pope for an annulment, but the Church refused. In response, he broke with Rome, founded the Anglican Church, and married Anne, declaring his previous marriage illegitimate, and Mary's birth unlawful. From Princess Mary became Lady Mary, the king's illegitimate daughter. Her title was taken away, her household dismissed, her dignity stripped. She was forced to serve as a lady-in-waiting to her newborn half-sister, Elizabeth, daughter of Anne Boleyn. She was forced to deny her mother, her faith, her own name. She lived in isolation, sick, under constant watch, but she never broke. When her mother died in 1536, alone, exiled, and still believing herself queen, Mary wrote a letter that read, "The world has lost a queen, and I have lost my mother. But I have not lost my soul." That same year, Anne Boleyn was executed and her father, King Henry VIII, remarried. The pendulum of power kept swinging, and Mary waited, in silence, for her moment. In 1547, King Henry VIII died. The throne passed to his son, Edward VI, a sickly Protestant teenager controlled by reformers who saw Mary as a threat. They tried to exclude her from power. They watched her, threatened her, even considered killing her. But Mary endured. She knew her time would come. And it did. In 1553, after Edward's death, they tried to install Lady Jane Grey, a puppet queen who ruled for just 9 days. But the people, still mostly Catholic, called for Mary. She marched toward London with unexpected force. Crowds knelt in her path. The legitimate daughter of Catherine had returned. She was crowned Mary I of England, the first queen to rule in her own right. But she did not come to rule, she came to restore. Restore the Catholic faith. Restore her mother's honor. Restore her name. And do it with fire. Soon, Protestant altars were destroyed. English Bibles were burned. Heretics were hunted down. The pyres began to blaze. In just 3 years of reign, Mary ordered over 280 people to be burned alive. Men, women, even children. Some were theologians. Others, simple farmers who refused to renounce their Protestant faith. They were condemned in swift trials. Executed publicly. The Queen watched some of these executions from balconies. She prayed as the flesh burned. Thus her nickname was born. Bloody Mary. Mary the Bloody. But it wasn't only blood that flowed. Mary also lived a private tragedy. She married Philip II of Spain, a powerful prince, but indifferent. The people hated him. They thought he came to dominate England. Mary, blinded by love, clung to him. In 1554, she announced she was pregnant. The country rejoiced. It was the promise of a Catholic heir. Her belly swelled, her face glowed with hope. But there was no child. For months she believed she felt it move, prepared the crib, the nursery, even named godmothers. But the birth never came. Her abdomen began to swell painfully. She suffered from edema, fever, nausea, mood swings. The doctors whispered what no one dared say. It wasn't a pregnancy. It was a uterine tumor. Maybe a deadly infection. The queen was rotting from the inside. Philip abandoned her. The people despised her. The court avoided her. And as her body collapsed, Mary kept sending people to the flames, convinced she was cleansing England of impurities, with holy fire. By 1558, England was drowning in fear, hunger, and despair. Mary Tudor, the queen who had promised to restore the Catholic faith and glory, was unrecognizable. Her body was a battlefield, a swollen abdomen, fetid breath, open sores, constant fever, nausea, hemorrhaging. The doctors didn't know what to make of it. Some spoke of dropsy, others of uterine or ovarian cancer. Some whispered it was divine punishment. But all knew one thing. The queen was rotting alive. At the palace, the stench was unbearable. The silence was absolute. Philip II was gone. The court avoided her. She became paranoid, alone, abandoned, just like when she was a child. She died on November 17, 1558, at the age of 42. Death was slow and humiliating. It is said her organs were so decayed, she constantly oozed pus, and they couldn't embalm her properly. Her funeral was modest, almost awkward. The people did not mourn. Only the Vatican lamented her death. England sighed in relief. That same day, her half-sister Elizabeth I ascended the throne. She was young, charismatic, Protestant, everything Mary was not. And with her began the golden age of England. Culture, expansion, Shakespeare, naval power, but also the silencing of the past. Mary was turned into a ghost. A warning. A nightmare. The woman who killed for love, for faith, and for pain. And though today her story is reduced to a nickname, Bloody Mary. Few remember the betrayed child, the scorned heir, or the woman who believed she was fulfilling God's will, even as she decayed from within.